Oh man, and we are live. It's a late one, man, because this game started at 8. Usually the home games in Detroit start around 7 o'clock. But you know what? This one ended the way that a lot of Detroit Pistons games have ended in a dub, man. 104-103 over the Boston Celtics, who, to start the year, I said, look, that's going to be a sneaky good team. Even though Jason Tatum's out there, they got championship pedigree. Their defense was team defense. It wasn't like Jason Tatum was their defense, so they were still going to have that scrappiness. They can still shoot the ball, and they still got Jaylen Brown, who today was named an all-star starter. But you know who else was? That man, Cade Cunningham. He had the first. He was first. He had the most amount of votes, man, out of anybody as it relates to the player vote. Second in the media vote. Fourth in the fan voting. I know Detroit showed out, but all y'all other biased fans out there, man, y'all messed up. Y'all should have agreed with the players. But this was a great game. You talking about defense, physicality. This felt like a game from the going to work era. This felt like one of those Boston, Detroit games when it mattered. And why? Because it does, man. You've seen the Boston Celtics pick up from a slow pace from the start of the season to effectively pass up the Knicks to some degrees, man, in my opinion. Shout out to the Knicks, man. Wolf. But the Detroit Pistons, it just feels like whenever these big games are on the line, this team is rising to the occasion more times than not, man. And you know what I like tonight? Cade talked about it in the press conference. They were throwing crowds at him all night to try and disrupt the offense. But did he have a turnover? Not one. Not one. Not one. Double-double on the night. Didn't shoot the best, but he probed well, set his teammates up, didn't force the issue. And this team came away with only 6 turnovers the entire night, man, which influenced my question to JB Bickerstaff in the press conference, man. So Pistons win 104-103 over the Boston Celtics. Uncle Tobias, 25 points. JD, man, he was going ham tonight. But really, this was one of those gutsy character wins. Like, even Asar Thompson, you look at him with 7 points, 7 rebounds or whatever. But the Boston Celtics, they had come into this game shooting about 48% from the field and about 38%, 37% from behind the arc the last 10 games coming into this one. In this game, though, Pistons put that vice grip on them. When we tell you the Detroit Pistons defense is real, that's what I mean, man. So let me make sure y'all can see the court real quick, and I'll tell you guys about this press conference. We'll go over this game. We'll see if Platte gets in here as well, man. But this was a good one. This was a good one. We talking about character wins when they win, when they don't play as well. This was a character win when both teams came out to try and take each other's jugulars. You got 2 all-star starters on the court. Both teams got 1 all-star, and you see them just going to bat, man. That's what I like to see. And Cade talked about that too in the press conference. He said, he actually respects the fact that, Jaylen Brown knows exactly who's the number 1 on the Pistons scouting report. And he decided, look, I'm going out here to try and get the 20, 30 points tonight. And I'm also trying to defend Cade Cunningham. But before we get into this, man, I got to show you guys somebody real special real quick, man. I see him over there on the far side of the court. I'll see if the camera will pick it up, but you guys see Mr. Garza over there in the salmon-colored shirt. That is Luka Garza, former Detroit Pistons player. I wish he was still here, man, but he's played some good minutes for the Celtics tonight. So you see Frank over there. You see Luka over there as well. Just want to make sure you guys can see them because they still support. They still love. Like, they still do things behind the scenes I don't even think people know about. So shout out to them, man. Every time they come into town, they always tag us. And just want to make sure we say what up to them. But I see you, Mr. Nugent. I'm seeing people getting into the chat. Things are starting to pop up tonight. Let's see here. Hey, Chris Platte's in the building too. Let's get him in here. We're going to read. Let me see. Where's our guy Platte at? There he goes. There he goes. What up, though, Platte? Welcome to the platform, man. I'm over here right now looking at Luka and Frank Garza over there, man. Shout out to them. But this was a big win for the Pistons, in my opinion. I have been on this train or bandwagon that the Celtics are going to be a good team. Yeah. That's where I've been since before the season. Even people saying, no, the East is wide open. It's like, I don't quite know, man. This is a team that still has championship pedigree. It's a team that still has a ton of defense. I was talking about it with the people here, and they're scrappy, man. They know where to be on the court. They know exactly kind of how to shade the defenses, and they listen to Joe Mazzulla. You talking about a team that's bought in, you see that on the defensive end, man. So this, to me, was definitely a character and a gutsy win, man. Hey, shout out to Luka, man. Luka Garza. But I'm going to read some of these comments. And then I want to be able to get your takeaway on this game, just your initial, and then we'll go through just a few names in the box score, and then we'll wrap this thing up. But Mr. Nuga, I see you in the chat, man. He says, thank you, Kool-Aid. Missed the last post game, cough, cough. But I appreciate you. I'm down in Tennessee. I never get Pistons coverage except against the Hawks. Appreciate you so much, man. Look, we're appreciative of you guys. I'm gonna continue to say that. We jump on here because we know you guys are gonna be on here. You know, I love the Pistons, but if it was just to talk to myself, I could just sit at home and do that. But I could call Platte. We can have conversation.
Yeah, if it was just me and you, we could call, we could text, we could see each other tomorrow and talk about it. But no, it's because of you guys that we're here. So thank you, each and every one of us. And the best thing you can do is like the stream. Please like the stream. Let's get this out there in the algorithms. And if you're not already subscribed to Woodward Sports, man, it's the best Piston coverage in the game. Lots of dope Pistons coverage, but what Kool-Aid and I are doing is very special. I mean, you see the access that Kool-Aid gets. You see the access here. Man, this is courtside right now. Come on, where else you get
it's fire, bro. We're trying to give people not just access, but because I know there's people all across, a lot of talented people in this community. Let me just start there, from our official media to our official content creators and everybody in between. We're just trying to make sure that we stay consistent, we stay true to that, because that is what's going on out here. It's not necessarily even about competition, but it's about the fact that this is just how we do things in Detroit. So I'm glad when we look out there and we see that Detroit is one of the more robust, communities on social media throughout all of the NBA. There might be a lot of bandwagon fans out there that jump on the bandwagon of other teams to troll or to cheer. But Detroit is one of the ones where they've identified there's some real people here. And that's why we get some of the access that we do get as well. That's another one of those reasons why. And then, like I said, so it always will come back to you guys. We're going to try to make sure we're consistent. We're going to make sure we show up. We're going to make sure if there's an opportunity, we get our foot in the door to be able to show you guys just a little bit more. And for our next trick, I'm telling you guys, man, don't let us get a sweep. We will throw watch parties in here. You guys will be coming to some of those watch parties with us, man. So Chip Herbert, he says, awesome to catch one since I don't have cable, man. Everybody's like, yo, this was a great game. Look at Mr. Nuga after Celtics, man. Chip Herbert. Cade was active. Stats don't show how important he was. They do. The shooting stats will cause people to ignore the fact that he had 0 turnovers and 14 assists tonight, man. So I appreciated everything that he brought to the game tonight. Mr. Nuga, my favorite uncle. He might not have a night every night, but he's a vet. Shout out Kool-Aid. Please let go of LeVert. So obviously, Unc got to be talking about Tobias Harris. Again. I don't know if I'm at Unc status just yet, but we got a super chat in here before we get into everything. Dante151, shout out to the Indiana football team winning the national title. Also, I'd like to apologize to Unc Tobias Harris. I didn't know your game tonight, man. Shout out to Tobias Harris, who it's not just that he can score, bro, but it's the fire that he's playing with. And that's what I'm telling you, this team, I keep hearing people ask, and I've heard people even ponder, like, are the Detroit Pistons this year's Detroit Tigers of last year? Riding hot at the All-Star break, 6 All-Stars, best team in baseball effectively in terms of the record, and they fell off. And I'm sitting here like, I don't think you guys understand what's going on here. Cade Cunningham is a true superstar in the sense that only, like, realistically in the NBA and maybe hockey you can feel it. I feel like the superstars in the NBA are the ones that can affect the game so much more. Like in the NFL, you can have a quarterback who's not a superstar, but he's still affecting the game in a big way. Here, if you have one of those ones, you can do a lot of things. You look at Nikola Jokic, right?
Yep.
Doing everything he's doing. Got good teammates, but he still has been that only all-star. And so when you look at a Cade Cunningham and the type of skill set that he has, man, I'm telling you, there's never a time to doubt what this Pistons team is. This is all going to be about him. Now, when you have smart people at the helm in terms of coaching, when you have smart people at the helm in terms of your front office, that's where everything else gets glued together. So we got a Cade who's stepping into who he is as a superstar, and we got a whole rest of a team that's, honestly, they just do their job really well, man. There's going to be nights when they're off. There's going to be nights when certain players are off. But overall, this team, it's very evenly and well matched. And I know that's probably not what a lot of people want to hear as we get closer to the trade deadline, but it's the truth. And Platte, we saw it tonight. Randall Small says, great game, guys. What do you think, Platte? Let me know your thoughts about this game, bro.
Yeah, I thought this was a great test. I thought this was great proof that the Pistons resolve can match in a playoff atmosphere, in a playoff moment, because they weren't shooting the ball extremely well, but their defense kept them in. The way they were able to get points off of turnovers and limit Boston's ability to do the same, I thought was great. This was a gritty Boston team, and you saw the many facets of this team. Like, you saw Kay Cunningham not have a great game offensively, but to your point, the difference between basketball and every other sport is that you can impact the game so many ways. Kate's shot wasn't falling, but he was able to just control the floor. He had more assists than the entire Boston Celtics team. I mean, that was just a great performance from Kate Cunningham, and so to have that when you don't have the shot falling is great, because when a pitcher isn't able to deliver his stuff, when he just has an off night throwing, right? He can't really impact the game. Like when you have a star receiver, if he can't get the ball, he can't really impact the game. Like, there's
Yeah.
something like a superstar basketball player. That's just so unique as opposed to every other sport that has superstars.
Yeah.
So Kay Cunningham tonight did what he did. I thought Duren was an X factor. I thought Duren's size was immense in this game. The way he was able to stop Kata from being a super effective force in the game was great. And then you saw the second he went out, they punished Luka Garza in this small Celtics team. They punished it. They went big immediately
Bro,
with Stu and Duren. That was
that
awesome.
third quarter, it
Yeah,
was
and
like
that third
they
quarter, yeah.
just spammed it. Like
Yeah.
Luca checked in and they spammed it. They went instantly to
Yep.
the pick and roll game and running multiple sets, getting him right into the middle of the paint and being able to either run around him or throw the ball over his head. Like
Right.
that was something and it's interesting that multiple people pick it up, because you could tell now in terms of the adjustments that the Pistons have to make, they're almost so obvious that they just stick out when they actually make them. But they're making them. And that's what I mean. It's like, it's not like this team is, in years past before JB Bickerstaff, it felt like these young players were just running just to be running.
Yep.
Running basic offenses, and we were sitting around wondering, why aren't they doing more dives? Why aren't they doing more lives? Why aren't they doing this? Why aren't they doing that?
Yeah.
Well, you enter in JB Bickerstaff and he instantly catapult last year to the number one lob team and number one team in dunks in the league last year. You fast forward to this year, they're still that, but they've also improved now. They're one of your top pick and roll teams. And now you see the offensive efficiency. What's interesting about the Pistons' offensive efficiency is you have to pair it up with how good their defense has been. Still
Right.
number 2 in the league. So when you see a night like tonight where they're able to go and literally put the cold, like it's so cold in the D on the freaking Boston Celtics, man. That to me is what I love.
A
Because they don't
great
have to go out
high-powered
there and
offense.
score 120. That's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
I read it off earlier. Like I had to look this up because I looked up at one point in the game and I was like, the Boston Celtics is only shooting 31% from behind the arc. Then it was like they're shooting 28% from behind the arc, and it was 31% from the floor at one point in time in the game. Do you understand they came into this over the last 10 games shooting close to 50% from the floor and 38% from behind the arc? But in this one, the Detroit Pistons held them to like sub 30, like about 31, 32 for this game from beyond the arc, and under 40% from the floor, man, overall.
Yeah.
Their defense was all over the place. And what I love about it is that the Pistons found a way, though, to still be effective shooting the ball. Even though K didn't quite have the game that we wanted them to have, everybody else on the team tonight was doing what they're supposed to be doing, which is what you want. K wasn't chucking. He wasn't going out there to jack the shot to. He was really playing to what the defense, not even what the defense was giving him. He wasn't going to force beyond that. So there were several times where it seemed like he knew, all right, they're throwing this double team, they keep throwing this double team. So then I started seeing him go off a pick, come off the other pick, dive into the lane, and then throw it right back out to Duncan Robinson as if he knew he's just going to be right there. And you look at a lot of those threes that Duncan Robinson hit tonight. You look at some of the open shots that even Tobias Harris got. These were coming off of K. Cunningham created gravity. These guys were wide the frick open for some of these plays, man. And it was absolute beautiful basketball, because you want to know that if you're an all-star, if you're an all-NBA player, if you're a superstar, you want to know that your player can make the right decision, can make the right basketball play, especially in high-pressure moments like tonight, man. Because I see people talking about it here, man, in the chat as well, about the atmosphere and about the way that they played tonight. I see Mr. Nuga, we the deepest team in the league, but we actually play
100%.
as a team to boot. And tonight was one of those nights where the rotation in a playoff-like atmosphere, in a playoff-like game, the rotation was a little bit shorter than it normally is.
Yeah.
Did we see Dennis Jenkins?
Nope.
You see what I'm saying? Did we see even the Marcus Sassers? Did we see Paul Reed?
Nope.
That was an interesting little
We
wrinkle.
barely
to it,
saw
man. Like,
Javonte Green.
we saw him, and you know what? He
We
looked
barely
a lot
saw
more
him.
like himself as well.
Yeah.
You know, had a really, really big three on the far end of the court here. And to me, I think it's the scrappiness in the defense. They weren't rebounding the ball well on the offense, like on the defensive end early. Like they allowed,
Right.
I think, first half offensive rebounds. Hey, have a good night. Hey, Cleet from Pistons PR. But they let up like 9 offensive rebounds, and we were like trying to figure out what's going on here because it's not as necessarily like they have the size to just punish Detroit. We looked up and realized there's people like Derek White getting in there. Jaylen Brown was getting in there. Both of those guys had 5 rebounds, 5 boards total in the first half, and both of them had like a couple offensive rebounds to be able to keep things close, even though they weren't shooting it that well. And so normally the Pistons are really good at that stuff, but I think because they were doing so many other things so well, it just didn't really quite matter as it related to what they were able to do effectively all night.
Yeah, man. I can't wait to get to these players because I got some other things, but I feel like that's going to bleed into a couple of these players here. So,
Oh yeah,
I'm excited, man. This is one of those box scores. Like, it's going to be fun to go through the team stats, to go through the players. It's going to be fun because it really does tell a lot of the story in what is, what could be a preview of a very late Eastern Conference playoff series.
Yeah, I would not be surprised at that. That's the team all year that I thought that they have the pedigree. I'm telling you, I think that they have the pedigree way more than even the New York Knicks. And I know there's a lot of
100%
high on them and over the Cleveland Cavaliers. Like, this is a team that's won a championship. Yeah, like I don't think people understand. Like, the Celtics are for real. They just had to be able to find their continuity without Jason Tatum, and we're gonna have to see who he is when he comes back. To me, I think Jason Tatum has achieved a lot, and at this point in time, even though I believe he's still going to come back at a star level, maybe not right away, I do believe that he's going to be a guy that, at least if he comes back this year, I don't think he's trying to rock that boat too much. I think they're going to be a team that's going to enter the playoffs effectively as well coached and as well defense as we've seen them. So, yeah,
fun fact about the
Knicks still scare him. Huh?
Fun fact about the Knicks, real quick: they are just as close to the 2 seed as they are to the play-in.
Wow. Wow.
So, yep.
Shout out to the Knicks. I know Knicks Muse, he posted on your left.
Them real quick. Yeah.
On your left some
I saw that
ago.
post,
and I think he curses.
They deleted it.
Man, so
yeah.
He needs to.
He did actually delete it because I went to go to it and it said this post don't exist no more. So
well, let's get to this box score, man. I will shout out Jaylen Brown. 11 of 28 tonight, so they made it tough on him. 2 of 8 from the floor, but he did put up 32 points, 11 rebounds, and he got 10 free throws tonight. This is a night where I'm not going to complain about the types of calls he got because it's the types of calls that we want Cade Cunningham to get. Overall, I thought Jaylen Brown was tough. I thought he did effectively his job, on a night like tonight. And because when you look through the whole box score, it wasn't like people were shooting that well. Derek White was 0 of 6 from behind the arc and 1 of 11 from the floor. So it did put a little bit more pressure on Jaylen Brown to have to go out there and chuck a little bit more. So I actually like him a lot as a player. And it's been interesting to see his development this year without Jason Tatum. But he's the only player other than Luka Garza that I'm going to highlight tonight from the Boston Pritchards. Jason Tatum wasn't there. Did they score 30 through Pritchard? Nope.
No.
I'm not even going to say it. I'm not spending no time on Pritchard. But Luka Garza, 15 minutes, 10 points. Shout out to him. Obviously, Detroit Pistons draft pick.
Yep.
Wish he could still be here, but he's trying to do everything he can to prove he belongs in the NBA. So shout out to him.
He's doing a good job in Boston. He is.
He's doing his job. And that's there's sometimes when I'm just like, I wish we didn't just throw him away sometimes. Like we literally just like, this is go.
Yeah.
Because that energy off the bench. But you know what? We got us a Paul Reed and we rock. We roll.
100%. Yeah. I thought he did what he could because we talk about how Duran just absolutely attacked him and the Pistons attacked him defensively. This is one of those nights where he did his best to counter that on the offensive end of the ball, making a couple of threes. because if he didn't make those threes tonight, I mean, he would have been like he would have been like the big stinker on their team, you know. But the fact that he was able to kind of counter that with some threes there, that kind of showed his worth for him today.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're preaching, man. You're preaching on that one. And it's them threes in the second half. I was just sitting here like, are you kidding me right now, Luka?
Yeah.
But you're right. They were picking on him a little bit, and good on the Pistons. Find something that works against a team that's completely throwing everything at Cade to try and disrupt and slow him down. And Cade, he stepped to the table. He's so confident in his team that he's like, yeah, I felt like I didn't even need to be out there tonight, and they still would have won the game. Cade, let's not get too ahead of ourselves, bro. Let's not do that. But it is nice to know that when you go out there, you don't feel like you have to play hero ball.
100%.
Think about that. His shot wasn't really going in all night. But down the stretch, we saw him making the right basketball play, the right pass. And to be able to have that type of confidence in your team, to know, you know what, these guys are going to get it done. Meanwhile, everybody on the outside is saying what they need to do to get better. This Pistons team is still, you know, who they need to trade, who they need to let go of. And tonight it was a Tobias Harris show. You know, tonight it was Duncan Robinson, who was absolutely blistering from behind the arc in his last, I don't know, like 30 attempts, man. Blistering.
Yeah.
You know, so it's I think it's a good thing when our star can be comfortable with the teammates that he has. Like the passes tonight, when you look at those assists, they were just on the money. We could talk about Cade Cunningham first from the Pistons, man. 16 points, 4 of 17 from the floor, so he didn't take 28 shot attempts, like our guy Jaylen Brown. 8 of 10 from the free throw line, so he was the same there. 14 assists, 3 rebounds, no turnovers, as I mentioned. And guess what? 1 steal and 2, count them, 2 big blocks from Cade Cunningham, bro. Like, this guy is doing some silly things as it relates to defending in the paint. He's one of your top guards as it relates to defending in the paint, and he might be the top guard as it relates to blocks in the paint.
Yeah.
So shout out to Cade Cunningham for doing this thing. You want to see him shoot better, but on nights like tonight, it's understandable. Like, these guys and this team were throwing multiple types of looks at him, and they were delaying them. There was a play where we saw Cade setting up to do a pick and roll at the top with Jalen Duren, and they were already hedging. They had Pritchard playing on the outside, whoever was on the outside wing. They already had Pritchard just step into the paint. They didn't even care about who was out there on the 3 wing. And as soon as Cade came off the double team, he just stepped up. Came off the pick, he just stepped up the double team, and the other player replaced and got back. I was like, this is some crazy, crazy stuff, bro. Like this is amazing, the type of attention that they're paying to Cade Cunningham. That they're willing to leave shooters open for a split second. They're willing to do read and reacts and get backs. And, you know, usually it's like Shaq's down there in the paint. So you need to have your center and your power forward also hedge towards him. It was almost stuff like that. It was like, this is insane. But when you see all the players vote Cade number 1, I guess that's telling us the story. And for people like us, who we've been on this bandwagon for Cade Cunningham and the type of player we knew he could be, it almost feels like we're drinking the Kool-Aid sometimes, but it's like, wait, no. The players voted him number 1 now too. It's like he is completely certifiably stamped. And when you see those types of defenses, we saw him start the defense getting full court press and double teams starting as soon as he crosses half court. And to me, I'm sitting here like, I like Cade too, but what are y'all doing? Now we're sitting here seeing what the reality is, and to see the types of looks he was getting and still put up 14 assists, physical game, no turnovers, and for the whole team, 6 turnovers, that's a team that's showing that they're learning how to value each possession. Do I believe that they value each and every possession? Yes. But that doesn't mean that you're going to be able to go out there and execute it. Tonight was one of those games that you want to see from your Pistons against a good team, execute. I loved it. I loved it. They were strong with the ball, strong to the rack, getting the fouls. It was the type of game that you want to see, rugged. This was playoff atmosphere, and JB Bickerstaff, he remarked about that as well in the press conference.
Yeah, I think this is a great example to, again, like I said earlier, to have faith in this Piston team come playoff time, because look at Cade Cunningham versus Celtics the last game. What the defense of Boston gave Cade was 2 very, very different game plans. Last time they played Boston, what did they do? They said, all right, Cade, you are going to beat us by jump shooting. That's it. That's what we're going to do. We're going to make you beat us by jump shooting. And he responded with beating you by jump shooting. This game, okay, we are going to make sure the other players beat us. It is not going to be you. We are going to give you tough shots. We are going to try to bait you into as many tough looks as you can get. And then ultimately we are going to try to we are going to overhelp, and we are going to try to just get late contests on all of your guys who aren't necessarily great shooters anyways, and hope that the law of averages play in our favor. And Cade Cunningham solved them both times different ways. So that's why you should have faith against Cade Cunningham in a series. This is what superstars do. This is what the top of the NBA does. This is what the cream of the crop is a player that can come into a series and see two totally different game plans from the same team and solve them within a game and execute it at a high enough level to create a win. And that's what Cade Cunningham did today. So credit to him, and also big credit to JB Bickerstaff. I know that obviously he definitely had a hand in the Pistons execution.
You mean future coach of the year, JB Bickerstaff?
Future coach of the year, absolutely, 100%. We're done with that. How's last year's coach of the year doing? I heard he's on the hot seat, but
I don't know where he's at, man.
Yeah, you got to look down. You got to look down the standings. You'll find him. But I think that this Cade Cunningham game was that Kool-Aid. Like, it was Cade showing you that, no, okay, you could give me all the looks you want in the series, but I'm going to figure it out. And it's not going to take me 3 games to figure it out, 4 games to figure it out. I could figure this out in 1 game. And so that is the jump that we are seeing from Cade Cunningham, and that is a massive superstar level leap that Cade Cunningham is taking. And these two games are proof of that. These 2 games are proof of that. So there's nothing more to be said. The shot, maybe it's is his wrist injury his shooting wrist, or is it the opposite? Because he hasn't shot well since
it's both. I'm just be Richard, but he hurt, I believe, the opposite wrist more recently. He's playing through things. That's why I put that up. Mr. Noogie said this case of an injury. He don't talk about it unprovoked.
Yeah, he's one of those people that
in the press conference. He said he's bruised up. He did. He said, I'm a little banged up. He kept grabbing here, right under here. I don't know if y'all can see, but like right underneath his pec and right under his armpit. He kept grabbing there, and it's different when you see him like limping off the post, off the press conference table, because right after the game there's adrenaline. You're still pumped up and everything, but when you see him in that press conference, it's a little bit different, man. When you see these guys, and that's everybody. It's not just Cade, but obviously the guys like Brown, Jaylen Brown, Cade Cunningham, Jalen Duren. These are the guys that are going to be getting the bulk of the looks, and these guys get fouled the hardest, man. So but this is it though. Like, these are the things that Cade had to solve, and when he put in the work, strength and conditioning wise, and he came into camp a little bit bigger last year, and he came into camp way more cut up this year. That's part of this thing. So shout out to Ashton, the trainer. Shout out to his brother Cannon and that whole staff that's been working with him and everybody else. Like, all these young dogs are competing too. You know what I mean? Like, they got ties to each other. Like, he knew Ron Holland before. Him and Jalen Duren are like really, really tight. So to see these guys saying, no, we need to push and continue to push each other. Now we're seeing the young guys be part of what's leading that charge. I absolutely love this stuff, man. And I see the noise about Karis, man. We'll have some discourse at some point in time.
Sure.
But thank y'all for being here. Hey,
Absolutely.
They're shutting down the court right now. As always, we try and give you guys the most unique looks, the most unique content, man. Still here at LCA doing our thing right now. So smash that like button when you get a chance, and definitely put your comments in the chat as related to what your thoughts are on this game, man. And shout out to Cade Cunningham too, man. Put your comments about Cade Cunningham. First time being an all-star starter. Last year, 1.74 million votes. This year, up over 2 million. That's amazing. All right. You guys have to understand, when Blake Griffin made it, he had about 100,000 less votes than Cade Cunningham last year. This year, Cade is like 600,000-700,000 votes ahead of where Blake Griffin was. So that's an insane. You have to understand that's insane. I'm gonna compare it to Grant Hill to see if this was the most fan votes of any Piston player, like between Grant and Cade. Then I'm also gonna check Isaiah Thomas as well. I don't know if Isaiah Thomas got too many fan votes.
I was gonna say
later.
Not off of obviously play quality at that time, but it was reputation. There was the Allen Iverson Piston year, so those numbers would have been crazy too. Not off of play, but the legacy that Allen Iverson was in the NBA, that definitely pulled some weight because he was the last Piston starter or Piston All-Star starter.
Yeah.
So
Hey, and we got some more super chats here. Shout out to Mr. Newgate. He said, "Thank you for being here, boys."
shout out to you,
Continue to
man.
thank y'all for being here, man. We're gonna get through the rest of this score sheet and then get home. I got parents in town, man. Granny fell, so we're gonna go try and see her at some point in time. But you know what, man? Duty calls here too, man. Freight Train J 199 super chat. Ron Holland, work on handling the ball, please. You know what, with Ron Holland, it's just he's just one of those one speeds, man. And
yeah,
I think when he sees daylight, his job is to just go. And more
Yes.
times than not, we've seen these stretches where it's working for him. Now, I will agree. You want to see him tighten up the handles. You definitely want to, especially with his position.
I think that comes with just like processing. I think it's the speed of the game he's catching up to. And I think once his game catches up to the speed of NBA play, then I think you'll see that ball control be better because I don't think he necessarily has bad ball handling per se. I wouldn't call it that. It's more so just rushing and maybe not making the reads quick enough of when this person's going to dig in versus when they're not. And like those type of little nuances that make ball handling just difficult in the NBA. So I think it's more of that when I watch him than bad ball handling. Like Jaylen Brown used to have terrible ball handle. Like you could see it. That wasn't a speed thing. That wasn't a speed of the game thing because Jaylen Brown was already an all-star player. It was just that he just physically did not have great ball handling. That's not what I see with Ron Holland. What I see with Ron Holland is a kid who just wants to just rip it and go every time, and that's what he's being told to do. And that's what obviously brings a lot of success for the Pistons is his energy and his attack, his rim pressure that he brings. But it is learning to control that with a little bit of balance. And I think that comes with processing the game. So I think he'll be all right.
Second year for him. Second year for Ron, and he didn't hit the ground just getting a ton of minutes like the previous number 5 overall picks and above. Like you got to think Asar Thompson, Jaden Ivey, even Marcus Sasser and Jalen. These guys got thrown right into the fire. Ron didn't really get that. Ron's in a position where he came in and they said, "Hey, look, we picked him number 5, but we're not actually trying to just run him out there and run him ragged. We want him to learn." I think that he's in a position where he has the good enough intrinsic skills to get it done, to stay on the court, hustle, transition, defense to offense, things like that. But they're working on that skill set. And I do believe that Ron Holland's one of those players that in a couple of years, you're going to be looking at like, yo, this dude is an absolute dog. Yeah. Absolute dog. And that's what they're doing. They're working on some things with him. He's going to be it, man. You can't teach the speed, the athleticism that he has. You can't teach just that dog that he has. You cannot teach the defense that he has, man. I like where Ron Holland is headed.
Yeah, mid made. You can't teach the hustle and the heart. Yeah, that's 1,000% true. That's 1,000% true when it comes to him.
I'm gonna go through the bench real quick, and then we'll go through the rest of the starters. Isaiah Stewart tonight, 21 minutes, 8 points. I thought he just played big in the paint, man.
Yeah,
5
that block on
rebounds
Cato was crazy.
Yeah, that block was absolutely sick, man. It was insane.
That's nice.
Ron Holland 3 points tonight, 1 of 4. No turnovers for him. 4 rebounds. Javonte Green 3 points. Hit is only 1 to 2 threes. Actually, he was 1 to 2 from the floor, and that's the thing. Like when you hear this, a lot of these numbers are low. Sometimes the bench can go out there and run up the shots. They really can. We've seen the bench go out there and hit 50 points. But tonight it was much more pedestrian than that. Karis LeVert shots right at a premium. Shot makes right at a premium. 2 points for him, 1 to 6. And I know what people are thinking and feeling, man. And Jaden Ivey, same amount of minutes as Karis LeVert. He had 7 points, 2 of 3 from the field, 2 of 3 from behind the arc, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. He did have 3 turnovers. There were a couple times, but he had 2 blocks. There was a couple times where with Jaden Ivey, it looked like the Jaden Ivey that Dwayne Casey was like, "Hey, look, we gotta have to make sure we find a way to keep him fast, but still slow him down." And we were like, "Well, what does that mean?" He was like, "Well, look, being able to utilize your speed to get where you need to go, but not overrunning yourself." And tonight there was a couple times where you saw Jaden Ivey looking like, okay, I got my speed, I can go by him. Like there was one play was dancing, I think, at the top of with Pritchard. In the past, I've seen him just hit the little hezzy and go. But Pritchard didn't go because why? Ivy doesn't quite look right. That speed, that burst is not there, and they wound up just going on and it was a turnover. Like he cross, and then tried to go hard right, wound up turning the ball over as soon as he went to try and do his gather to make the layup.
And that was
I do believe that these are like, I'm just gonna say, I think these are things that as he gets more acclimated to who he is now, post injury and post surgery, that I believe will get better. But I don't know how much we're gonna get the wholesale change or improvement until after this season, which is just an interesting thing with him. But he finds ways sometimes to be effective, and in other times it's I get it, man. He has a microscope on him right now, and I think that every bad thing he does or any little hiccup he has, it's going to be magnified. But it's going to be interesting to see how this thing goes with Jaden Ivey. Overall tonight, I thought he played well. I would like to see him just cut down on those couple, mistakes where he's just kind of dribble heavy trying to get around this guy. Just pass the ball and keep it moving.
Yeah, I think with Ivy, you saw the things, you saw everything in Ivy that you've seen this season. You saw the stretch where he hit a couple threes, and everybody's like, "Okay, great, this is awesome, Ivy." And then that play you're referencing came shortly after. And that was one where he could have pulled up and rose up and took the three, and I would have been in support of that. Just Ivy, you were in a rhythm. You hit your last 2 threes, like you've been in a shooting slump, but go ahead and take that one. And then he made the great block on Derek White on defense. And then I think he had a block on Jaylen Brown as well. Did he have 2 blocks in that game, or was that just a contest? Let me see here. Yeah, he had 2 blocks. So 2 blocks this game, like that's great defensively for him. I thought his defense was there. His effort, his motor is always there. He had a couple drives and nice dump offs, but again, it just doesn't look like the same Ivy when it comes to attacking the basket. And that's something that you and I have kind of said. Look, it is only just about the halfway point of the season, not quite, but you're kind of seeing that this probably won't get that much better until another offseason of recovery and rest. And that puts the Pistons in an interesting spot, considering that he is, entering free agency this summer. So we'll see what moves the Pistons make there. But I think if the Pistons really want to make some serious steps this postseason, that they're going to have to get some sort of consistency from Ivy. And that's going to be a huge variable for them in the playoffs if he's on this roster come playoff time. Is are you going to get the good stretch or the bad stretch? And that's gonna swing some games, honestly, for the Pistons. So it'll be big to see tonight. I thought it was overall a good night, but he has been slumping recently from 3. So you gotta see he's become now more than ever dependent on the 3 because the drive just isn't there. So he's going to have to live and die by the 3, and the Pistons need 3-point shooting. So hopefully he can continue to bring that to the Pistons as the season progresses.
Yeah, and I want to get into these starters, and then we'll run through the team stats too. Obviously, we talked about Mr. K. Cunningham tonight. Another game, another 40 minutes, another night where he is the leading player in terms of minutes for the game. So
yes, sir.
K. Cunningham is showing that he can go out there and he can handle. This is halfway through the season now. Personally, I don't want to see him playing the most minutes right now, but I'm glad that he's proving he can. But I want to make sure that they can keep him as fresh as they can keep him for the playoffs. But what I recognize with this Pistons team, value every possession and all that, unless he just has a low management game, they're just going to go out there and they're going to play to win the game. And I think that's the right way to play. Don't go out there and play and learn to play at different levels, because then even sometimes when you go out there and you win, you get comfortable believing that you can win games that way, not playing to your best. Instead, we see the Pistons going out there, win or lose, still going out there hustling, still going out there and effectively giving their all, playing the minutes, things of that nature. And I actually, at first, I was a little bit like, you're going to tire them out, because people used to say that about the Cleveland teams. They used to say that, well, JB had them boys playing so tough during the regular season that they just got tired during the playoffs. Then all of a sudden you go to next year where they try to mitigate that after JB, and they do the same thing.
Yep.
So part of me has kind of been like, you know what? I like seeing the Pistons go out there with that motor and that energy on every single night, whether they're hitting threes or not. I do. I like that. And I think that with them being a deep team, you give yourself more of the opportunity to try and keep them a little bit more fresh than if you were just running a normal 8 or 9 man rotation. So, all right,
Yeah.
Ausar Thompson, 28 minutes, 7 points for him tonight, 7 rebounds, 3 or 6 from the floor. He didn't force too much tonight. He did have 4 steals, 1 block, 5 stocks for Ausar Thompson tonight.
Yes.
And I just thought defensively he was a menace.
Great game.
Great
game from Ausar. I don't really have, too much to add. Like these are the type of games I expected and hope for Ausar. Like that's what you need right now. Obviously, you want to see him continue to take steps and be more than this tonight. But on most nights, if he is this, you are very happy with that result. Just an absolute demon on the defensive end. Again, creating a lot of transition opportunities with those 5 stocks. And then, just being aggressive, man, like going for dunks instead of layups on drives there was really key. Being a good screener, crashing the glass hard and being there. There was a couple more offensive rebounds that he almost had just because of his energy and efforts. So I thought that it was very encouraging that when the game was physical, that Ausar didn't back away. He stepped up to the physicality and he matched it, if not exceeded it. So I thought this was a great game for Ausar, and I think if you're somebody that believes in Ausar, that values Ausar, I think this is a game you'll point to. Again, it's not perfect with him; he still needs to grow, particularly offensively. But what he has right here, if he can replicate this throughout the season and in the postseason, he is going to be a huge factor for this Piston team in their push.
And then we go through this thing here. Duncan Robinson, shout out to him, 15 points, 5 of 13 from the floor, 5 of 11 from behind the arc, 3 rebounds and 2 assists. Tobias Harris, had 25 points, 11 of 20 from the floor, 3 of 8 from behind the arc, 3 rebounds, 1 block for him. And Duncan Robinson also had a block and a steal. It's awesome. I'm going to talk about, I guess, those 2 players together before we get to Jalen Duren and then the team stats. It's just awesome to see players like that, man. Tobias and Duncan, 2 guys who you don't know quite what you're going to get on the defensive end before we signed them. People have these notions about these players, and then they get here and you realize, you know what? These guys are scrapping. They are. They were tracking stats earlier in the game. They were like, yo, this is the most amount of steals Duncan Robinson has ever had in his career in a 6-game stretch. Then it was the most amount of steals he's had in a 7-game stretch, in the 8-game stretch. It didn't fall off. Like they were just like, yo, this is just Duncan Robinson now under JB Bickerstaff here in Detroit. It must be something about it when you come in. But you know what I remember about Duncan Robinson when he was at Michigan? He scrapped and he played.
Yeah.
So I wonder what the cultures were in some of these other, when he was with Miami. But he talked about, man, I've been in some weird locker rooms. He said that at media day. And so he was like, this one, though, he said, this is probably one of the best locker rooms I've been in. So now you see Duncan Robinson out here doing things, beyond just 3-point shooting. And I like the fact that he's not an all-world defender. He's not going to be your first or second or even third team defensive. But he's a guy that's going out there and he's giving you effort on every single play. He's trying. Yes. Even if he gets bodied, it's just like, I can respect that, man. And it's actually making a freaking difference, man. It's making 100%. A difference.
100%. It's one of those things that makes this Piston defense so special is that they don't have a weak link. You thought Robinson would be that, but that's what makes this defense great. You don't get to number 2 defense in the NBA with deficiencies. Like, they are number 2 in the NBA, and they are clearly number 2 in the NBA. And chasing number 1, remember, we thought that number 1 spot was going to be unobtainable, but here they are really starting to close that gap and compete for that. So that's a testament to Duncan Robinson. That's a testament to Tobias. All these guys that aren't looked at as defensive stalwarts, but know their role within the scheme and are just doing their things to be positive defenders, just not negative defenders. And that makes a difference. When playoffs come and you can't target somebody specifically, that's an issue. That's an issue because you go through every team in the NBA and there's only a few teams that you're gonna say we can't really target anybody. And the way they're playing right now, sure they'll try to target Duncan Robinson, sure they'll try to target Cade, but those aren't bad defenders. Like Those aren't bad defenders. Well, the reason they target Cade is to wear him out energy-wise. It wouldn't be because they're looking at him defensively. It would be to wear him down. But the fact that you can't really attack a weak link is awesome to Duncan Robinson. The last thing I'll say about him and then Tobias really quickly is that this is now what you're seeing Piston culture, because Duncan Robinson came in and is balling out, is playing some of the best defense and offense, having in some sense a career year for himself. And what does that do? That comes right after Malik Beasley had a career year. So it starts to show you now that this isn't about the player. Yes, it's about the supporting cast, it's about the coaching staff, the environment that the organization that is cultivating here in Detroit, that they are showing that they can bring people in and give them the best years of their career. They can support them, and that comes with Cade. That comes with everything that this organization is doing top to bottom. So shout out to Duncan Robinson for that. And then Tobias, the thing I want to say quickly about this is, look, his three-point shot may be cooked. It is not looking great. He was 3 of 8 tonight. You will absolutely take that considering what it's recently been for Tobias. But he did show you so much value that he has everywhere else, between the ISO scoring in the mid-range and on the post, and then the defense. Like, he literally guarded Jaylen Brown on the game-winning drive. Like, that shows you something. So all I'm saying is, I know it's trade season, and I know that there's a lot of names that you can look at. And I'm not saying don't look at those names. I'm not saying don't pull no triggers. I'm saying, though, watch this tape and ask yourself if what you're getting is replacing everything Tobias does and not just one thing, which is the outside shooting. So I thought tonight was a night where you really saw the value of what Tobias Harris is. And now, I'm not saying that doesn't mean don't make a move for him, but at the same time, you do have to just really analyze this game and make sure that the guy you're bringing in, can he guard 2 through 5? Can he, can he get you an isolation bucket? Because Tobias is a one of one. You have Asar and Ron that are scrappy defenders, great defenders, but they're a little thinner, they're a little smaller. Tobias is a big, true body that you could put on a 4 or a 5 and be okay with that and survive that. And you can't really do that. And then also him to go all the way down to a 2 or a 3 and Jaylen Brown and guard him. I just thought that this game really showed the value of Tobias Harris, and that Pistons fans, as you're firing up those trade machines, just ask yourself the questions that I'm asking right now.
And you know what, man? And we gotta talk about big Jalen Duren before we run through these team stats as well. 12:06 here, so it's the next day now. You know what? Happy Tuesday to everybody. It's the life in the grind, man. Detroit Pistons. But Jalen Duren, 31 minutes tonight, 18 points, 8 of 12 from the floor, 2 of 5 free throws, 9 rebounds, 1 steal for him. And I feel like he should have had a block, but they said no blocks tonight for Jalen Duren. Did get 5 fouls, and I believe that Jalen Duren is starting to. Obviously, his game's been maturing, but I feel like he's now learning to play through the contact. Even though there's going to still be some complaining, he's learning to play, understanding. People are going to have a fistful of your jersey. People are going to be grabbing your arms. Just expect to go home and have to be rubbing the alcohol, or the peroxide, whichever is your choice. On the cuts and all that type of stuff.
Right.
The fact that Jalen Duren is just turning himself into an aspect of beast mode that cannot be stopped, I love that. And he's not allowing himself to be taken out of the game or commit silly plays or turnovers or fouls because he's frustrated on one end of the court because the way that they're playing him. When as he continues to understand that he's an absolute man-child that nobody can really, really, really mess with, I'm starting to see him now become more and more emboldened, more and more a little bit stanky now. You know what I mean? It's like, you know what? I'm going to dunk on you first. I'm going to try and put you in the rim, and then I'm going to look at the ref. Like, I'm going to put you through the rim, hear that whistle, then I'm like, yeah, you should have called it sooner than that. That type of stuff, man. And it was a big call tonight as well on a play where they effectively were pushing him over. and he wound up throwing the arm out as he was falling and hit Jaylen Brown, and we were wondering, oh man, what's gonna be the play? But clearly he was the one that was being pushed first. But him being able to kind of play through that, sell it when necessary, I think this is a big thing for him. We talk about Cade and the turnovers, and Cade finishing at the rim, and Cade being able to play through contact to get the fouls. I think that you can look at Jalen Duren as it relates to the big man, and you can see he's actually taking these types of steps as well. Able to play through the contact, able to play through fouls that the refs are going to miss. Like, come on, bro. How long have we been Detroit fans? You don't think they're going to miss some calls? If you know that they're going to miss calls, that means you got to show up. You have to show up ready to ball, ready with the rec league rules, where you don't get a call unless the opponent gives you the foul. And so that's what I'm seeing out of Jalen Duren, and I think it's helping him tremendously because you're not thinking about playing for the foul. You're thinking about putting this person through the rim because you know that you can. So
Yes.
shout out to big Jalen Duren, who I thought he continued to show himself to be big. If they're going to throw crowds at you, make yourself a live connection. And some of the most kind of crowd excitement-inducing plays tonight were those alley-oops between Cade and Duren, man. One of them, I'm Anthony Simons, bro. You were on a poster, brother. Like a night after he put Huff on a poster, though. Like, it's just like, I like
he does this. He
Two
does
nights
this,
after
man.
the Huff.
Yeah.
That's tough, bro.
Yeah, no, I think quickly on Duren, I think he just showed that he's the X factor, not only for a Pistons Boston potential series, but also just the Pistons playoff run. Because in this Boston series, like, you know, if you play Boston, they are the one thing they are is deficient in front court size. And that is something that you saw Jalen Duren completely impose his will on. Not only was he enforcing a rough go of things for Keita, forcing Keita into turnovers, you know, putting Keita in bad positions a lot, frustrating him. Not only was he doing that, but also the way he was just constantly putting pressure on this on Boston's interior defense throughout the whole entire game. Every moment he was in was huge for this team. It was absolutely huge because part of the thing about, you know, these open 3-point shots is part of it is happening because of Cade, and because they made a game plan tonight to wall up on Cade, to stop Cade, to have 2 to 3 bodies at a minimum ready for Cade every time he touches the ball. But another thing that makes those shooters more open is that they have to stay true to the gravity of Jalen Duren. So tonight Jalen Duren did that, and I think you're seeing really what can be the thing that unlocks this Pistons offense come playoff time and gets them to the level that they need to go to. So I thought it was a magnificent night from Jalen Duren.
It's a good thing when the presence of your stars and their impact that they can have just being on the court is so big that they have to leave Duncan Robinson and Tobias Harris open on some plays. Like, that's amazing. That one pick and roll between Cade and Duren can frazzle the entire defense. This is the reason why you want to see them continue to take the mature leaps that you see them taking in their games. These guys are still young, man, which is the crazy thing. Like, the Pistons, if they do this the right way, they're going to have a long time when they can make these Eastern Conference runs. But first, they got to make one this year. And Mr. Nuga asked for the 198 Super Chat, Eastern Conference Finals talk, is it too early? Pistons win again. No, it's not too early because they've been saying that they want to win. They're the number one seed. This is their expectation. Because think about how much we laughed at the Cleveland Cavaliers. We even called them they're phony 1 seeds. And they went in and they proved it. They were phony 1 seeds. They were phony top seeds multiple years in a row.
Yes.
And so it's like, no, you want the expectation to be, if you're there, get it done. Don't be that close. Don't just be, we just have a cute season, blah, 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 blah. Nah, listen, if you're there and you got first right now, you're proving. Not that makes you the best team in the league, but you're proving that there's a whole lot more there than others in the league, man. Like, go out there, set the expectation for yourself, and bludgeon teams. You're beating these teams in the regular season. Like, think about the fact that they beat up on the Knicks in the regular season last year. It was Madison Square Cade, but then they're the team that beat you in the playoffs. That stings. That burns. So it's like,
it's past the point of now coming into season. You were happy with winning a series, and you were like, maybe if all things break right, Eastern Conference Finals. Well, it looks like things are breaking pretty damn right for you as the number 1 seed in the Eastern
Yeah.
Conference. So now you do have to shift your expectations from, just winning a playoff series. And again, I'm not saying that this road to the Eastern Conference Finals is going to be easy. It's not. I think you're going to see Cleveland, New York, and Boston playing their best basketball in March, April, and potentially May. So I think you have
Post All-Star.
Yep, you have to be very, very ready for that. I think it looks great now, but again, there's a lot of basketball left to be played. We're not even at the halfway mark. But that being said, we have a good enough sample size to show that this Piston team is 3-1 against the Boston Celtics. They will not play the Boston Celtics again until if they match up with them in the playoffs. But they won the season series against the second team in the Eastern Conference right now. That shows you that your expectations should not just be to win a first round series, to be a competitive team. Your goal now is to represent the Eastern Conference in June.
Hey, look at this. Tommy Guitar Gibson is here to show some love, man. Must be a Knicks fan. He said post-game show by a bunch of idiots that don't even live in Detroit. Post-game shows are professional, not for YouTube fools. Okay.
Course side.
Hey, holler
Check
at
it out.
Holler at it. I can't show the credential on camera. Sorry.
Yeah. Hey, man, it's all right. It's all right. You give it on that behind the
It's
access.
funny, dog.
Look,
No,
there's nothing going on with the Knicks, so you might as well pop in here. I mean, look, if you're covering an Eastern Conference team, wouldn't you want to cover the number 1 team? Wouldn't that be the team you'd want to cover? I would. I sure would. I sure would hope so.
Oh, Tommy's having a bad night. Hey, Tommy, God bless you, bro. God bless you, man. And you know what? Yeah. God bless whoever, Knicks fans, Pacers fans, Celtics fans, because I think it's going to be a long season for them. This Detroit Pistons team is for real, bro. It's absolutely for real. And when I look at these box score stats, the team stats, this is what I believe the Pistons can be in the playoffs, man. And this is what I do believe was the benefit that the Knicks were able to rely on last year. Jalen Brunson and the Knicks team, they just didn't make the turnovers when it mattered most.
Yes.
That was one of the craziest things, man. That was one of the craziest things. Like, as good of defense as Sarr Thompson played, Jalen Brunson still wasn't coughing the ball up, man. But when you look tonight, the Celtics were doing everything they could, man. Scratching, clawing, blocking, playing in the paint. All of that type of stuff, man. All of that type of stuff. And the Pistons still came away with only 6 turnovers on the night. That's insane to me. And what I love here, too, is the fact that they forced the Boston Celtics into 14 total turnovers, and they got 19 points off those turnovers, which is something that we love to see. Now, this was a game where, they were going out there and forcing another team into a ton of them, but to know that this squad is going out there in a game where points were a premium, and they got 19 points, bro, off of 3 points from the Boston Celtics, you love to see it, man. You love to see it. 13 assists to 24 assists for the Pistons, so they win that one big. I don't even understand how the Boston Celtics only wound up with 13 assists. 9 steals, 9 blocks for the Pistons, 7 steals, 4 blocks for the Celtics. So everything is right in the world again, bro. Pistons are beating another team in stocks. And rebounds, though, this was an interesting one. 45
that
to 41.
Was the one. Yeah.
That, to me, is what I think kept them in the game tonight. They weren't
100%.
shooting the best, but they were able to go out there and create some second chance points by grabbing those offensive rebounds. And tonight they did win that offensive rebounding battle, 14-9, which actually made the freaking difference, bro, in that rebounding battle for the Boston Celtics. And it kept them close. Kept them close.
Yeah, 100%. I think that was the one. And that's something that truthfully, you'll tell the Piston team to be better. You watch this team and the way they play, and you say, you could be better than that. But Boston is a damn good offensive rebounding team because they got those scrappy guards. They got guys like Derek White and Peyton Pritchard and Jaylen Brown that just have a great nose for the ball and end up being where the ball is. And Kata's a rebounding hog as well. So they have a good rebounding team despite their lack of size. And it particularly shows up on the offensive end with the offensive glass. So that second chance points was crucial to keeping Boston in this game. I know it's something that the Pistons will want to clean up, but truthfully, that's something that Boston will give a lot of teams problems with, because it's just the way they are. And it goes to what you talked about at the top of the show that I agreed with, is that
Yes, sir.
championship pedigree and DNA. Like, that's just that those are the type of things that happen Boston's way. It's not just luck that the ball is going that way. It's about them being prepared for the moment and being and attacking it and just doing the things that they needed to do to remain competitive. And that's what Boston has done against the Pistons and all season, and that's why these games are so close. So, yeah. So credit to Boston more so. I wouldn't be that frustrated if I were the Pistons. Now I know that JB is going to have a different temperament than I will have when it comes to that, but I don't see it as like this Piston team was just lacking effort or anything like that tonight. I think it was just Boston was taking advantage. There were a few miscommunications, but other than that, man, it was just Boston just doing what Boston does.
Yeah, I see Mr. Nuga says Celtics are still legit. Yes, they are. And I like this one here from Terrence. He says, do you like the Pistons to post up players like Brunson and Pritchard? I would personally like to see that more out of guys like Cade. But something tells me that these are certain wrinkles that they probably want to be able to rely on more in the postseason for Cade Cunningham. I haven't seen him rely on it as much as I saw him do in the second half of last season. Now, Tobias Harris, though, is a guy who that's just a natural part of his game.
Yes.
So whenever they did, because they switched, they did some pick and roll sets, and the way that they were running the double teams at Cade, it was almost as if they knew, okay, Cade gonna do this pick and roll with Duren. They're gonna double team me, throw it right to Tobias in the paint. And there was a couple times where he had a guy on the like Pritchard or somebody a couple times. It's just like, whoa, how did that switch happen? And Tobias, each time, it was freaking barbecue chicken, man. So yeah. I do. If Cade has those types of matchups, I wouldn't mind seeing what Cade can do. I would not mind seeing put back to the basket, as long as they're working with him to also have the right amount of body control. Because there's some players, 6'6", 6'7", they put their back to the basket, they're coming away with either a basket or a foul. And that's where I think you want to see Cade Cunningham get to. By that time, that's when I think you'll see him do it more and more and more effectively. Until then, I think that they're trying to put Cade in a position to do the things that he's most effective at and efficient at when probing. When his back is to the basket, you're taking away one element, a major element of who Cade is as a passer. So that's one thing that I've noticed. They kind of reduced the back to the basket stuff, but it's increased actually his overall assist numbers this year, his ability to probe, and getting those other players involved. I think that just bodes really, really, really well for this team in the long run. You want these guys confident. You want these guys comfortable. You want them feeling part of the team. I'm telling you guys, confidence is a hell of a drug. And having that chemistry and knowing that Cade Cunningham, our star, our all-star, trusting me to make this shot, and Cade to know I can back down, I can do what I do, and I can literally sell all out on this play because I know it's going to open up Duncan Robinson or Tobias Harris. I could toss it to him in the corner and they're going to knock it down. I think that type of stuff is absolutely crucial, man. Absolutely crucial. This nigga said something like nobody pack me. Look, bro, they getting it in over here, man. Like these crews out here. I'm telling you, man, Detroit never stops, bro.
Never stops working.
Never stops working.
That's the city, man.
Any last words from you, brother, as we start to wrap this thing up? We've been on for over an hour now. It's 12:22. We probably not getting to sleep until 4. And then we got to be right back up because I know you got to be at.
It's a grind,
jobs,
man.
So I know you got to be at one.
It's a grind, man. It's a grind, but it's all the best things we can ask for in life, right? I mean, to cover the once again the number one team in the East. What a blessing! What a blessing! So, I can never complain about that part. But my closing remarks is simple, man. This team is doing what I am asking it to do, and I want to see that continue because we didn't stream after the Indiana game, but the Indiana game was exactly what I wanted, Kool-Aid, right? Just blow out those teams, show those teams that like they don't belong.
I thought about you, bro.
Yeah, and like because that's like the last step that I need this team to see, or I need to see from this team. And they gave me that there. And then winning again, by no means am I ever ask you to blow out the number 2 team in the East. I know there's a 6-game differential, so that is quite a gap. But at the same time, that is a damn good Boston Celtics team that is playing some of the best basketball in the NBA right now. So for you to get the win, I don't care how you got it, and win the series 3-1 against that team was absolutely phenomenal, because you know they had this game circled on their calendar. You know this was a game that they got up for, that they used as a litmus test for themselves.
Yep.
And that is what, and the Pistons able to pull out the win, man. That is great. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see. I want to see Cade kind of get back into rhythm offensively, but I'm not worried about it. I think it is kind of, like you said, kind of bruised up and just getting back into a little bit of flow. He did miss some time basketball wise, so I think it's just all about that kind of stuff, and we'll see that as he goes throughout the week. The Pistons have 4 games this week, so I think you'll see. I think come 6 days from now, you'll see a different Cade Cunningham out there in terms of his efficiency and his overall production.
Hey, man, this has been dope. I'm glad you're able to jump on the stream as well, Platte. We got some things planned. I'm gonna actually fill you in on some things too. I got some special streams that we're gonna be doing, and we want you guys to stay tapped in as well. It's just pretty awesome, man. Right now, I can't even lie with the Detroit Pistons and what they're doing this season, building on the promise of last season, not letting it down, not going to reverse. These guys got the pedal to the metal, man, and I think they're proving the name Pistons right. They moved to 31-10 on the year. They sent the Boston Celtics to 26-16, which that's interesting, man.
Halfway
Boston
mark.
Celtics at 27-15. That's looking kind of that makes you sweat just a little bit, man.
Yeah.
Pistons, they go out there and they just handle business, man. They handle business.
Yeah, man. It was a great team win.
Yeah, looking at the standings here real quick. The Pistons 31-10. They are 5.5 games ahead of Boston, the next closest team. 7 games ahead of New York. 7.5 games ahead of Toronto. I remember earlier in the season, everybody was talking about Scotty Barnes and the Raptors. Yeah, okay. Philadelphia. Shout out to Tyrese Maxey. I was ready for Philadelphia to fall off, but Tyrese Maxey's proving to be that deal, man.
Yes.
23-18 for them. Orlando Magic. I thought they were going to be dead. 23-19, and this is probably because the Cleveland Cavaliers currently are sitting in the play-in, brother.
Yeah.
What
Coach of the year, reigning coach of the year.
Just a few years after JB Bickerstaff, and everything is flipped on its head. Pistons at the top, and Cavs are battling right now for the play-in with the likes of Miami.
I was told JB was a problem.
Atlanta.
That's what I was told, Kool-Aid. I was told that JB was a problem.
We were told.
Yep, we were.
But you know what? Maybe we heard it wrong.
Yeah.
Because JB Bickerstaff is definitely a problem. He definitely is, dog.
He's a problem. He's the entire Eastern Conference's problem now.
When I'm looking at the comments here, man, I'm excited to see this team in the finals.
Hopefully,
it's pretty awesome to see how quickly people have gotten there, man. But shout out to you guys, Mint Mason. Shout out KoolAid and Platte, Mr. Nuga. Props to my man KoolAid and Platte. And you know what, man, my player of the game tonight, you got to give it to Unk.
Absolutely, he's got to get the belt tonight.
My X factor tonight. I'm going ahead. I was gonna give it to Duncan, but I think I'm gonna give it to Asar Thompson. This is a defensive game. That's a great war. Defensive battle. He led in stocks, 5 stocks tonight, man. I don't know. I think in terms of X factors, he was one of those ones tonight. What about you?
I think you nailed it. MVP Tobias. X factor was absolutely Asar Thompson. Again, Jalen Duren and Cade had great games, but that's what you expect from your 1 and 2 superstars. These two players that we named in particular stepped up. Duncan Robinson, a great honorable mention, but yeah, I thought Asar's stocks and what he brought defensively in this game, you needed that defense. And then Tobias, man, the offensive firepower that he brought, especially when your superstar isn't scoring the rock efficiently. I thought it was a great performance from him. So you nailed it. I'm a co-sign that.
Hey, well, look, man, courtside at LCA, grinding away, KoolAid and Platte, man. the ball knower. Let me make sure I said that right. Platte the ball knower, man. Thank you for making the time. Thank you for being awake, man, for being up for all of these. We've done quite a few of these, man. So appreciate you guys for being here, too. Go ahead and smash that like button at 12:28 a.m. on a Tuesday. Even though the Pistons played yesterday, y'all realize that, right? They played a day ago now. But appreciate you guys for being here. Appreciate the Pistons. Shout out Woodward Sports. You guys hit the subscribe, hit the like, leave a comment in the comment section, too. Y'all go spam. You know, the Pistons won again. Go spam Kool-Aid and Platte. Go spam Go Pistons. Go spam Pistons in the finals, because we want to make sure that this gets back into the feed of Boston fans, New York fans, Pacers fans, all those fans, man.
All those fans.
Love y'all, man. Appreciate you guys. Let's rock out.
Peace out, everybody.
Hey, one more look at the court.